Hey guys, just wanted to come and give you a quick second part of our Behind the Sermon series as we look at the book of Colossians. Remember, 2 weeks ago, we had a break because of See You at the Pole and had an awesome time. And 2 weeks ago, we looked at how Christ is superior over sin and death, and how he made an example of the rulers and authorities by his work on the cross. So as we're looking in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 through 23, and it says this: "Therefore no one is to act as your judge in regard to food or drink, or in respect to a festival or a new moon or Sabbath day, things which are a mere shadow of what is to come, but the substance belongs to Christ." What he's saying is that the substance, the real thing is Jesus. "Let no one keep defrauding you of your prize by delighting in self-abasement and the worship of the angels, taking his stand on visions he has seen, inflated without cause by his fleshly mind, and not holding fast to the head, from whom the entire body, being supplied and held together by the joints and ligaments, grows with a growth which is from God." And so he's saying that all these other things that we do, these Jewish festivals, were for a purpose. They were a shadow of what was to come, and that's of Christ. And so he continues on saying that Christ is the head of the church, and that we are held together by Christ, and that Christ himself provides the growth. The growth comes from God. And so as we continue, verse 20, it says this: "If you have died with Christ to the elementary principles of the world, why, as if you were living in the world, do you submit yourself to decrees such as do not handle, do not taste, or do not touch, which all refer to things destined to perish with use, in accordance with the commandments and teachings of men? These are matters which have, to be sure, the appearance of wisdom and self-made religion and self-abasement and severe treatment of the body, but are of no value against fleshly indulgence." What he's saying here is that these different rules, these different regulations that these people were telling the church at Colossae, you have to do in order to be a Christian. You have to do all these things, and you have to provide. You have to be, this way or that way, and you have to walk this many steps. All these ridiculous things had it coming from both sides, because if you remember, they were not only coming from a Jewish traditional aspect where people were like, you have to do the Sabbath this way, you have to do the New Moon Festival this way. They also had it coming from their Greek culture with the worship of angels and all this other stuff that was just kind of mixing in together. And Paul is trying to kind of weed out what's right and what's wrong, and kind of show them who Christ is and why you don't need to do any of these things, because Christ is superior to it all. And Christ is the only one. Not only is he superior, but he is the only option that you have. Because it says here, even this is in verse 23, "These are matters which have, to be sure, the appearance of wisdom." They look like they make sense. It makes sense to do, sometimes it might make sense to do these things. "In self-made religion and self-abasement and severe treatment of the body." So, it's kind of this works-based type deal. And so he's bringing along, he's like, okay, I can see how this makes sense. It looks like that there's wisdom in this. But what he's saying is this: but they are of no value against fleshly indulgence, against the problems that we face, against anything. There's nothing we can do on our own. And it is only through Christ, who is the head in the body, and in whom with we grow. Christ is the only way, and he is the only option that we've got. Because in Christ we're more than conquerors, but we can do none of this on our own. And so we have this just absolute victor in Christ, and then we have nothing but failure on our own. And so this is kind of what Paul is just continually hitting and hitting on as we go into chapter 3, and what God has in store there next week, next Wednesday, when we look at God being superior over our selfishness. And so we see that God is looking at sin and death in the past and in the last part of Colossians, and we see that God is superior over all angelic beings and everybody else, and now we're going to look at how Christ is superior in our life. So I invite you to come out on Wednesdays, and I hope this helped this week. I hope you guys have a great week. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from it. All right, see you all later.